everyone. We are here with the amazing Dr. Nikita Shaw, who is going to share with us her journey of entrepreneurship, her journey of growing her brand new practice that is actually doing very well, and all of the lessons in between. So, Dr. Shaw, welcome.
Thank you. So I'm Nikita Shaw. I'm an obesity medicine doctor and a family medicine physician in Orlando, Florida. And I'm the founder of Weight Sense Lake Nona.
So tell us a little bit about Weight Sense
Yeah.
and what you do there.
So I provide science-based obesity medicine and personalized treatments. So within my practice, my patients basically get concierge weight care. They have me as their doctor, leading them on their weight loss journey to make permanent health changes.
Well, that's really great. You know, the reason why I love what you do is because I talk to so many physicians, and you'd be surprised how many physicians really have a passion for weight loss and a passion for helping people make the transitions that they need to make in their lives and, make those changes. But they haven't done it. They're either doing family medicine or they're doing something, but they haven't made weight loss their primary um you know their primary thing of practice, so they haven't done that yet. And you did that, and you started off not having your own practice. So can you rewind a little bit and tell us what happened? How did you go from, what, I'd really love to focus on this, to actually doing it?
So when I first came to EBS, I had started my practice off as a side gig. So I wanted to have my family medicine practice and also have my obesity medicine clinic. And I did both of them and it was good, but I knew I had to make a big decision. So my first like big hurdle that EBS helped me go over was kind of just come to peace with um, shifting from my employed practice, which was actually a wonderful practice. I love the people there. Um, Great support, like it was all these things, but it did not match my overall vision for my life and also for the work and the contributions I want to make in the world.
Mhm.
So and I still will get sad when I think about it, but coming, like I didn't have one of those stories where I was in an environment that I disliked. So I was in an environment that I actually loved, but I wanted to do more.
Yes, that's
So
wonderful.
EBS helped me find peace with that and go all in on my private practice. Within that, the journey, my first vision retreat and the first goal was really to create a practice style that was in line with my own life and my own personal belief system. So I wanted to have priority for my children, the work schedule I wanted, and be there for all the things that matter to me. So the first year after the vision retreat, I did it all. I got the schedule I wanted. I set myself up like it's been really great. So then second vision retreat. So we go on these vision retreats every year and we write things on. So the second one, I wrote down my vision retreat, like at the vision retreat, I wrote down my goals. Now, the lessons from the first vision retreat were like, after I did it, I go, oh, I didn't dream big enough. Like, I thought it was really scary at the time, but I clearly didn't dream big enough to grow large enough. But I made that first journey. So while in EBS, talk about tangible and intangible wins. So, like, my intangible wins is actually identifying like what's on the horizon where I'm trying to go, and then like allow for the time and the skill necessary to meet those benchmarks. So I continued within the school because now I see the amount of the mindset that I need to succeed. And
Mhm.
if I really want to live out my visions for my practice and for the contributions I make to the world, that ideally will be beyond me, then I need to adapt a certain type of mindset and I need to adapt a certain skill level. And I need to not just dabble in things, but to do the work and do it well.
Okay.
So most recently, at the beginning of this year, after many life changes, I'll say January of this year is when I went all in on my business.
Yeah.
Even though I had it as a side gig, like January is really like my time
Hmm.
where I started. At the beginning, there's a lot of uncertainty. I am in a cash pay, direct pay industry. And there's been a number of times, so this is like my tangible wins, where I would get scared and nervous, and I would think about changing the models, but the models, what Dr. Uno would share with us, like, was not in line with my vision for myself and my life, and then also the type of care I want to deliver.
Okay.
So I had to just find peace in the fact that, like, the kind of care I want to deliver, the math doesn't math up. And it's not even financially, but it's like time wise.
Yes.
So I know that for transformations to occur, for my patients to have the best experience with me, we don't need insurance in the mix at the moment. Like, it's not going to add up because
Mhm.
patients need access to their doctor to guide them along the journey. So Dr. Una gave me this rule of, like, just give it 6 months. And so I did.
Was that scary how was that? Because you're there in the midst of the practice, right? You know that your patients need your time. You know that your patients need, what the insurance-based model is not offering them. But you're also looking at the bottom line. I mean, you're also looking at, DPC is not, you're not getting reimbursements, it's not getting, so how was that for you when Dr. Una said give it 6 months? What did you
So it was scary, but I knew that this was it.
Mm,
Like, I still know that this is how I wish to practice. This is the type of practice. There's plenty of evidence everywhere for things that
wow.
work. And so it was mainly just like sitting with it. And then anytime I'd want to change positions, I would say no. I told myself 6 months. So then 6 months came
Mhm.
and things have been really well, so much so that I am, like, adding on and, like, growing my practice in different ways. So we talk about team building. So I am still a micro practice, but I do have two assistants that help me. And
Wonderful.
to know that my team is growing to that next level, and to also know that I'm still matching it to the care that I wish. So now I put my CEO hat on and think, like, okay, these are the things I know to do. And I
Mhm.
learned this in the business school. And these are, like, truthfully, you have to be, as a business owner, you have to objectively look at yourself too. So through EBS, I've learned how to evaluate myself and my progress and know that I'm still in it to grow. So I look at it and see, where can I make my changes? What can I do? And how will I continue to get better? So in other areas, and, like, I wanted to have a business before I was an EBS. And
Mhm.
the 2015, 2016 version of me was just so scared, so frazzled, so overwhelmed by all of these things that I could not put through. So I just put my head down and continued to be employed. But,
Yeah.
like, the post EBS and the current version of me recognizes that this is this is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, but with support and community,
Mhm.
I can do it. The biggest wins from this year so far, are actually pretty crazy, but I've spoken at a number of conferences.
Wow.
I spoke at WC Medicine Association. I have become a leader in my community. I've given talks to the Florida Medical Association.
Mhm.
I have some talks scheduled for December, and I'm discovering things that I didn't know about myself that I actually enjoy. So it's like I didn't imagine being a speaker, but it's occurring now. And I like it. I like educating on this topic because it's passionate for me. The second thing is, I've had a lot of family things going on in the past year. Family members passed away, family members becoming very sick. And one of the barriers from leaving employed practice to being an owner, sorry, was always like, if I'm employed, I know someone can take over my schedule,
Mm.
monitor it, so I wouldn't have to worry. But I'm able to do it in this way too.
Yeah.
So that was always important to me. Sorry to say, because, like, one of them was my dad recently.
Yeah.
Um, but to be able to have your practice function and to be able to have patients that understand that,
Mhm.
like, hey, there's going to be 2 or 3 days out, but, like, her father's having something serious going on.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So I think I wouldn't have, like, even attempted anything like that before pre-EBS. Like, I would have just thought, no, people have expectations that you have to be there this many hours, this many times, despite whatever you're going through. And I think that's a
Mhm.
narrative we're told in medicine, but now I kind of see, no,
Yeah.
there's a humanistic side of it. And
Yeah.
I am also human, and
Doctors,
humans
yeah.
have emergencies. Occur.
You're also human, you're also important, you also have needs. And that is that I've noticed that trend throughout everything that you're saying. I don't know if you've noticed it from the very beginning, even from year one, when you're talking about your vision board. You talked about how you realize, even as an employed physician where your business was just a side gig, you're just trying it out. You
Yeah.
talked about how it you were doing things, but it wasn't resonated with what you really wanted. What you really wanted was to prioritize family. What
Yeah.
you really wanted was to prioritize yourself. And then you really wanted to prioritize time, and you were able to do that year one.
Yep.
And then year two, it's like, okay, now I'm gonna go full on my business. I've gotten handle on my personal life the way I want it. Now I'm gonna go full on my business. But I'm not just gonna do business just to do business. I'm not just gonna hang my shingle and just see patients. I'm gonna do it in a way that speaks to me. I'm gonna do it in a way that I know my patients need, and I'm going to do it in a way that also benefits my life as well. And I love that. I
Yeah.
love that because it's a win-win-win situation. Everyone wins. You win, the patients win. So it's wonderful, and I'm so proud that you have that, and I'm so happy for you because you mentioned something that is so profound, and I think a lot of doctors listening to you can relate and can empathize with being in that position where you feel like, I'm a doctor, I'm a professional, I need to do what's best for the patient at all times, even at
At our own expense.
at your own expense. Yeah.
So those have been a lot of the tangible and intangible pieces of the journey. I think the next step, or like what EBS has helped him with, is we call it like avoiding shiny objects.
Yeah.
And that has been a lesson because when we're in this, there are many things that come our way, many opportunities, some things that'll pull you off of like the map. And what I've really started to understand is like what I see for myself, what I see for my practice, the direction I wish for it to grow. And I'm able to discern, like, yes, this is for me, or no, that's not for me. And I'm finding peace through that journey. So to me, it's to be a business owner and not being frazzled about all the complexities of business, and then allowing time to grow your audience, to grow visibility in the community, to become like a household name regarding your industry. Like those, I think those concepts are just not talked about enough.
Mhm.
And overnight successes aren't overnight successes.
No. They've been
um,
working at it.
yeah. So I think those are my biggest wins. And I know that with what we are all trying to achieve in community, it's awesome. And I like having a group of people that I can go to and connect with and ask questions to, be inspired by, and not compare. Like I don't feel like I am less than or not equal to or any of that as well. It's just we're all here to learn something, to grow and to be better. And we are really just a supportive group of people.
Yeah, that's a common thread I hear in EBS. Anytime I interview someone, and I don't, it's just amazing that they all say the same thing. They all say this is such a, not just a supportive group, but they always use the word that it's not competitive, that we're all here, we're at different stages. And people outside EBS always ask that, like, how, I mean, you're all at different stages of business. How does it work? Different stages, different types of businesses. I
Mhm.
mean, you're in private practice, but there's private practice that's insurance based. There are people that are coaches in EBS. There are people that, have products, have apps, but there's no sense of competition whatsoever. It's all supportive. and
Yeah.
and 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 I just love that you've been able to find value in that, and it has helped you personally. So that's amazing. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that.
Yes, it is. It's great. And I think the beauty is we all learn from different industries too.
Hmm.
So that's also powerful being in the room, is knowing that like in this industry, they're doing it that way and let me adapt it to
Hmm.
my style. And then you also see that the model you're after, like it's how it works out in a different area. So it's awesome.
That is so good. So we want to support you too, Dr. Shah. We want to send lots of patients. You are you
Thank
still
you.
accepting patients?
I am accepting patients.
Wonderful. We want to send lots of patients to you. So let us know. First of all, let us know how we can find you. We want to connect with you on social media. So if anyone watching or listening wants to connect with you, how can they connect with you on social media?
So I'm on Instagram at Nikita Shaw DO. And
Mhm.
then my website is weight-sense.com. And on my website, all my social links are on there.
Okay, weight-sense.com.
Mhm.
I love that weight sense. That's beautiful.
Thank
That
you.
is so good. And you're in the Florida area?
I'm in Orlando.
Orlando. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is so good. So refer to Dr. Shah. What's your ideal patient? Who is your ideal patient?
Anyone who wants sensible weight loss. There's like anyone who wants evidence-based, sensible, realistic weight loss, like that's my person.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is so exciting. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for where your business is headed. I mean, you're at the point now where you're building a team. You just really started full-fledged in your business as of January. You're
Absolutely.
already building a team. You're already, I mean, I'm excited for the next vision retreat. If you don't know, in the EntreMD Business School, we have a vision retreat once a year. And phenomenal results come from that retreat. So I'm excited of what you're going to put on your vision board next year because every year it's been everything you've put has happened.
It has. I am kind of scared, but it'll be good.
We need to dream even bigger, right?
Exactly. That's the thing, is just keep dreaming bigger. It happens.
Yes, yes, yes. And another thing that I really love about your story is the life that you've created for yourself and for your family. That a life that is uncompromising, but at the same time aligns with all your values,
Mhm.
and at the same time also does it gives allows you to give the best care to your patients. You
Yeah.
are winning, girl.
I can't complain. When I look at that, I just feel blessed. These are good
Yes,
things.
yes, you are. That is awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Shah. Really appreciate your time. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us today. And let's flood Dr. Shah's timeline with love and appreciation and patience. Share,
Thank
share,
you.
share, share. All right, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Initial year doing the business before the business, right? So I was still working within a practice, but I started just building my brand within the community, becoming known for my specialty, working in obesity medicine. I was the kind of person that I only did presentations when I absolutely had to. Speaking was not something I wanted to do. And definitely wouldn't go and ask people to work with me. So it was a huge just mindset shift and confidence booster to go out and speak in the community and serve people in that way and go out and talk to potential referral sources and really share my vision and really serve and it really didn't take long at all for me to become known as the expert in the community. And patients just started coming already before I even transitioned to my private practice. So I launched my private practice in April of this year, and I think one of the biggest kind of supports of like how important EBS was for me was launching this new practice, not knowing what my financial status was going to be. So many people told me, people that were not familiar with EBS were like, you can't really trust that a lot of people will follow you. You're probably going to have to build. It'll take 2 to 3 years for you to really establish yourself. And in that mindset, I was really wondering, can I continue to be a part of EBS? Is this a financial cost that I can continue? And in really thinking it over and discussing it with my husband, it took about a 5 minute conversation for us to decide, like, it wasn't that I had to worry about not that I had to worry about the cost of being in EBS still. It was that I needed to worry about the cost of not being in it. And my husband, we always joke in EBS that my husband calls it a built-in business expense. It's like a non-negotiable business expense. And really it's an investment rather than an expense, right? Because I couldn't imagine moving forward with this process without having the community that I've had to help me along. So April, I launched my practice full. My first day, I think I had 17 patients, and we were full right from the start. Within 6 weeks, I had to hire a nurse practitioner to help see patients, and to date, so this is April to now just November, she is full. We each see 18 to 22 patients a day. So with my practice, we usually have kind of longer appointments for coaching and motivational interviewing. So 18 to 22 patients a day is pretty busy for us. I actually hired a second nurse practitioner today. And then I have a doc that I've hired that's starting in March. So we've seen rapid growth, and I don't think I would have been able to keep up with, well, the growth I wouldn't have had without the support and the mindset and the marketing and building the brand locally. But also I wouldn't have been able to, just within my own confidence in my thoughts, maintaining this or supporting this scale without losing the quality if I didn't have the support that I have. So it's been exciting. We kind of knocked down walls and expanded into the suite next to us. And I never would have thought that within my first year, I'd be looking to be on track of, having over $1 million in revenue. And it's just been an incredible experience. I still went to Italy for 2 weeks in July. When I first decided to transition to the private practice, there was a significant thought that I had that I needed to cancel this trip that we had planned 2 years ago. And from coaching from the community, we need to start our business in the way we want to continue to have our business and maintain our life and that work-life balance. And I decided to, with the coaching that I received, of like, how can I still go to Italy? What do I need to create to still make this happen? Because the whole point of this was to build a life that I wanted. So I was able to go on this amazing vacation the first year, continue to grow and expand, and build a practice within less than a year that I never would have thought of that I would be able to accomplish in the 3 years that everyone else told me I would need to build my own panel.
So many amazing wins in that. Thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Golden. Can we give her some love in the comments? My goodness. Each time I was like, I wanted to interject so many times because you said so many amazing things that I wanted to speak about. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of them. So first of all, I love that you have kind of never thought about doing your practice, or if you thought about it, it was somewhere down the line. But coming into EBS, you not only decided to start your practice, but you started what we call the business before the business, where if there's anyone on the line or that has not started a practice yet and you're thinking about starting a practice, that you joined this call just so you know what to do when you start your practice. That's something we do in EBS, where we get you busy before you even get busy. Notice Dr. Golden said that she was, she started her practice full from day one, and within 6 weeks she had to hire. So what happens is that she was building her brand. She was out speaking, she was out getting into the community. And I want you to talk a little bit about that, because you said you got the mindset to do it, something that you would have never done. So how did EBS fit into all of that for you?
Yeah, I think, Dr. Una in her coaching and encouraging, and there's a lot of just workshops and classes available on how to become a speaker, and really shifting that mindset of you're there to serve, right? And as long as you continue to focus on you're there to provide a service, to share what you know, and you can never go wrong, really, as long as you're there with that vision and mission to serve. And that really changed my whole approach um to speaking,
Mhm.
because I think I would always get caught up in my head of, um what if I say something wrong? What if it's not the right thing? And just a lot of compare-itis, and just doubting myself. And there's just a lot of encouragement and celebrating wins along the way that really reinforces your self image of that you're capable, and that you have a story to share. Like, nobody knows my story better than I do, and I have a story to share, and I have um, a mission that is important to me, and as long as I stay true to that, that is going to continue to serve me and serve others.
And thank you for sharing that, because entrepreneurship can be lonely, right? And it can be daunting at times. And, we're celebrating your wins, because these are incredible wins. I mean, you're on track for seven figures in 1 year. Oh my goodness, you're on track for that. And, you're able to go to Italy for 2 weeks after just starting a brand new practice. And, just really incredible wins. Already have two hires already, and then another provider going to be hired in March. So really impactful wins. But we're not downplaying the fact that the day to day can be difficult. We're not downplaying the fact that it can be hard, to run a team, and get them to understand what you want, get them to share your vision, get them to see patients with the same quality that you see them. That some of the things that Dr. Unas taught us in this workshop about finding the losses and attacking them, attacking them head on, creating initiatives in the office, um, looking at your numbers, which is very hard, and making those changes. So can you tell us a little bit about, I know definitely the community had a lot to do with it. Can you tell us a little bit about how, some of the other components of the school helped in that area, in terms of, the workshops with Dr. Una, the success groups, the challenges? How does it all play in together to be able to help you to get these things done? Because yes, could you have done them on your own? Probably, but it's a little different when you have the
Yeah.
support.
So when I first came on, I'd say I was really intimidated in some ways. I think, as many of us are, and I think that was one of my hesitations at first to join EBS, was just like, gosh, a meeting every week, and then there's all these challenges, and then there's a book, and then, oh, I don't know if I have this kind of time. And really talking to so many other people, and Dr. Una encouraging as well too, that there are a lot of people that get significant wins, significant changes doing 20% of it, right? And making the time for it. And I embraced early on that if I couldn't show up for the Wednesday night lives, I would watch it, when it was available, when it was convenient for me, even if it was in 15-minute segments, just realizing that I didn't have to do it perfectly to get what I needed out of it, right? And the challenges were really helpful, where we would have challenges of like post 5 times a week, ask so many times a day, ask people to work with you, ask people to refer patients to you. And those are things that I wouldn't ever have really thought of making that big of a difference. But they do. They make the snowball effect occurs. And so we'll have challenges to in accountability to share with each other that, yes, I asked so many times and I posted so many times. And then you see the effect of it, and you see how a post you did 6 weeks ago got you a patient today. And then it really inspires you of this concept of that it's always working. And then you celebrate these wins, and it just propels you forward. Um, then there's the success group, that is so amazing that I really block and reserve that time. So it's like a smaller accountability group that we break off into in a time that works for you. And we can ask questions and support each other if something's going on. But a lot of times it's just that protected time that we all sit on together and get our work done. That usually the frogs that we don't want to, we're dreading doing, that we need to get done, and then we can do it in community and support. And then we have a book of the month usually, and they're always incredible books with great professional and personal development opportunities. I've enjoyed every one of them. I make my husband read them as well too, and it's great to share that. But I always want to remind everyone that's considering joining, or even newer people that are in EBS, because we can think that, oh, I've got to do all this. And there are books that I still am like halfway through, and I've moved on to the next one. And so as long as you're putting in whatever time and effort you have in this season of your life, you're going to get something out of it. And that, I think that's the biggest takeaway from that, is to not let this idea of it being such a big time commitment to stand in your way, because you're able to make it work for you, and you'll see significant results. Like, I'm still struggling with developing my YouTube channel, right? But I keep chipping away at it, and my team members always encourage me that what I'm able to do right now is enough. So
That was so good. I mean, we've really learned so much from that, because it's a combination of you just keeping forward, that forward movement, and also getting all the support that you need, and also getting the strategy and the coaching that you need in order to do it. That is really good. One last thing, and you've been so gracious with your time. I want to thank you for that. One last thing, you mentioned earlier that your husband said that the EntreMD Business School is a fixed non-negotiable business expense. And I talk to a lot of physicians, and I just like to keep things real. I've had quite a few physicians, not a lot, but I've had some tell me, the price point they're just not ready for that price point. And you even talked about, at some point you're asking yourself, should I continue? I've already done a year. The year was great because you're actually in year 2. So what would you say to anyone that's considering the school, but they're hung up on, I'm just not sure that I can pay that, I can make that investment. I'm sure the school is great, but I just don't see myself making that investment at this time. What would you say?
I think it's so important to look at it as an investment in yourself. And that was a concept I wasn't used to, which sounds silly because, I mean, how much did we invest into going to medical school, right? I mean, the amount of time and money that it took to get the training that we currently have. But this is one of the first things the first time that I really feel like I invested in myself personally and professionally, and I've increased my own personal net worth, right? And I think it's really something to really look at it as an investment in yourself. Commit to the fact that you're going to get returns out of it, and you will. I mean, it's going to change you personally, professionally. It's going to change whatever practice you're in. It's going to change the way you approach your career for the rest of your career. So I just would encourage people to try to get past that doubt, because it truly is an investment that you're going to get returns on.
And I love the fact that you brought it back to you, after you leave the EntreMD Business School, which you may never leave. Some people say they're going to
Never
be
leave.
for life. You're in there for life, right? There's a few EBSers for life, but after you leave, you're taking all of that with you. I mean, you're the one building the brand. You're the one that is now the subject matter expert. You're the one that CNN is calling. You're the one that's doing all these talks in the community. So whatever you gain from it is yours to keep. And not only that, I mean, you're living your dream life and your dream business all at once. So I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? And we have, if you check on the YouTube channel, we have so many of these stories, just like yours, Dr. Golden, of people in the school that are doing exactly what you are, living their dream life with their dream business. Thank you so much for your time. This has been phenomenal. Let's give her some love in the comments. And if anyone has any questions for her, Dr. Golden, can you tell us how to find you? Or if we have any questions, or if anybody has any patients to refer to you, tell us where to find you.
Yeah, so weightandgoldwellness.com, and then Weight and Gold Wellness on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So if you decide you wanted to reach out to Dr. Golden, you absolutely could. Sometimes I hear people say, well, I want to talk to a student. I really want to talk to a student. You absolutely could. She's given you her a way of contacting her. Thank you so much for this time. This is your story is really phenomenal. And we are so grateful that you took the time to share it. So I'm going to post the link for the school in the comments for those of you who may not have it from before. Go ahead and fill out an application. If you have questions, if you're thinking, you know what, all of these things like Dr. Una has talked about these past couple of days, I know I need to do them, but I just don't have I just don't trust myself to actually get them done. I don't know if I'm actually going to get them done. And then I still have questions about the right way to do them. This is what we're here for. We provide you the coaching, we provide you the accountability, we provide you the community to get those things done, to get you to the place where you're building your dream life and building your dream business. I want to address something that I've heard so many people say, and you may be thinking it, right? I've heard quite a few people ask me this question. They asked the question of, okay, you know what? In the business school, there are people with different types of businesses. So I have a private practice. So how am I going to get my specific questions answered? And I've had that. I've had people ask that. So I want to tell you how that happens. Now, yes, the business school does have people with, there are coaches, physician coaches in the business school. There are physicians that have products in the business school. There are physicians that are not just private practice with insurance, but also private practice with direct primary care. So you have all those different businesses in the school. But guess what? We are learning from each other. And the beauty of it is you can learn from someone that is a coach in the way that they market. You can learn from someone that is in private practice in the way that they market. I mean, we all learn from each other, and it's just phenomenal. Now, there's another thing that happens too, is that we have people with different tiers. There are people that are just starting out, like Dr. Golden, when she was an entrepreneur, just starting out building her brand. But there are also people in the school that are, making 7 figures in their business. But what you've come to learn is that the business skills are transferable. And a lot of times those that are making 7 figures are learning from the hunger of the new people. And then the new people are learning from the wisdom of those that have been in business for a while. But let me still answer your question. How do you get your own specific questions answered? Now, there's a few different ways that you can get your own specific questions answered. One of the first ways is in the live sessions that we have with Dr. Una. Now, we have live sessions every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. At the end of those live sessions, Dr. Una always asks, does anyone have any questions? And you get to ask questions then. So you get to ask them live with Dr. Una. That's number one. The second way you can get your specific questions answered, because people are always afraid, oh, I have a unique business, which you do. You have unique business, you have unique needs. The second way is in your success group. Dr. Golden did a fabulous job telling us about the success groups. Now, the success groups are smaller cohorts within the school. So you get to find a success group that meets at a time that's convenient for you. And within that success group, you get a chance to ask questions. The success groups, I don't think we have any success group that's bigger than 20 people, smaller group. And you get to ask questions. And that success group also is where you get to implement everything that you've learned. So like Dr. Golden mentioned, you're not looking for a different time to implement. You actually get to implement right then and there. So, and you get to ask your specific question there. Another area you get to ask your specific question is in the Facebook group. Our Facebook group is phenomenal. Oh my gosh. It's not the same as, where you ask a question and you get crickets, right? You get to ask questions in the Facebook group, and people will, even Dr. Una will go in there and answer your questions. And then one of the other ways that you get to get your specific questions answered is in the EntreMD vault. When you join the EntreMD Business School, something phenomenal happens. You get access to every single resource that has ever been in the school. So let's say, for example, we are dealing with how to get your team to share your vision, how to motivate your team. Let's say that's what Dr. Una is teaching. But you want to know, how do I create these Facebook posts that is going to make my patients come running through the door? Let's just say that's what you want to know. You could ask Dr. Una during the live session, or you could also look in the vault, the EntreMD Business School vault, and you'll see tons of live sessions where Dr. Una taught on that. So I hope that's helpful for someone who may be wondering, like, am I going to be able to get my own specific questions answered? How am I going to be able to get my my business challenges met? So that's I wanted to make sure I put that out there. I hope that's helpful to everyone, to anyone. Now we have one more. Doctor, can you guys handle another success story? Now, Dr. Mukanga is relatively new in the school. So she is going to, I'm going to ask her to unmute. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself.
Hi.
How are you, Dr. Mukanga? Tell us about yourself and your experience with the school, and any wins that you love to share, tangible and intangible.
Oh, yeah. So I'm Dr. Valerie Mukanga. I am, contrary to everybody else who are physicians, I'm actually a dentist. I'm a general dentist, and I am the CEO and owner of Healing Wings Dental, which is located in Arlington, Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we've been in business for 7 years. So prior to joining EBS, I would see Dr. Una's post on my Facebook story. And one day I tried to apply and I looked at the price. I was like, I can't really do it. So then one of my friends, Caroline Clarice May, who is the founder of Doctors Out of Death, she's also a dentist. She led me to Dr. Una by ways of her podcast, and I started listening. That was like one of the first podcasts I've ever listened to. And it was so invaluable that I would just binge watch and just listen, and started transforming from then. But then last year, October 25th is when I joined after a session just like this. And I was like, you know what, let me just do it. And I'm just going to pay it, just as a consulting fee, or just learning from my office. So it's a business expense now. And I tell you that I have just changed so much since I joined EBS. So before EBS, and I'm just one to be kind of like more shy. So I like to be really reserved. I was just more focused on seeing my patients, and I didn't want to do any marketing. I tell you that the first time I had to do like a video campaign for an Invisalign campaign we were doing, a video for Invisalign campaign we were doing, I was hyperventilating just to do like a 3-minute video. And so, yeah, so that was me before. But then when I joined EBS, I was just encouraged to become Googleable. And that being said, it means that you have to position yourself and just show up so that, you know, the more you show up, the more, you know, your name can be Googleable. So that's one of the first things that I had learned. And so I went to the retreat, and it was in April, and it was amazing. I think it was the Vision Retreat. No, I can't remember what it was called, but I went to that and I got to meet some people, and it was amazing. When I came back, I decided I was done just hiding, and I was just going to go on to being greater. And so I changed things at work. We started morning huddle and things like that. And I started making videos from then on. I started a YouTube channel. Yeah, and on Facebook I wasn't very active, still just a little bit here and there. But after this vision retreat, I decided to start on doing a live. So every Tuesday I have a live on Facebook. I have more posting. We started asking more Google reviews to our patients. And so that is that is increasing. There's just so much change. Even as a leader, I'm more assertive, you know, as a doctor with my team, telling them, you know, what needs to be done, what needs to be fixed. And my patient just still love us. And even though like with the video, I feel like there's not, when you put it like on a business page, what we learn is, first of all, that we don't have to be taken aback or just wait for perfection to get something done. So even if it's not perfect, you still have to put your foot forward and get it done, because perfection will come over time. So that's my mindset now. My mindset has really, really changed. Even when I walk, Makita, I'll tell you and everyone, like, I feel myself walking straighter with my head up high. Like, you know, it's really changed. And I was one to not really want to read any books or anything like that. But now I'm like, you know, because we have assignments, I start, you know, listening more to audiobooks, but not just now what is assigned to us. I even go to other books and start re-listening to them. So I've changed a lot, so much so that even one time my mom wrote Dr. Una to say thank you. I can see the change in my daughter. So that's really, like, in short, what I really wanted to share. One more thing, revenue wise, I had dreamed of the day that we would make 100K a month. And the month of August, we surpassed that amount. And I was so,
Wow.
and the month of September, we came really, really close. And even though, you know, September is more referred as September, to us, it was a blessed month. October, even though we went to the vision retreat, and I also had some medical appointment for which we had to close the office, we still came close. And I know that it's only going to get better. So I honestly, if I can benefit as a dentist, not even being a physician, you know, I don't know how you wouldn't benefit from the school. It's very, very effective at teaching you different strategies to just, you know, putting your best foot forward. So yeah, that's what I wanted to kind of like share about. So if you had any objections, honestly, as you see, I had mine when I first started. I thought the price was would prohibit me from actually investing, but it's an investment in yourself, because you know your mindset is just changed. It's just an investment for yourself, and you're worth it. You're worth it. Your mindset is your greatest asset. So yeah, I think that you will really, really find it invaluable. The community is great. Anytime anyone has a question in the Facebook community, this is not a place where people feel like there is competition. Everybody wants to chime in and help you out. And even physicians try to find strategy to help me as a dentist. Can you imagine? So yeah, to me, if I was to do it, if I was to say one thing that I would regret is that I didn't start earlier.
Yeah.
And So that's what I wanted to share with you today.
Oh my goodness. Is anyone else still stuck on 100,000 month, 100,000 month? So how you had been in business 7 years and you had never had $100,000 a month?
Ever.
Never. But you were able to do it within how many months in the school? 10 months? No,
Yes,
you did it in August, so
in
8
the
months.
school.
Say that again?
Yeah, no, it was October 25th, 2022. So I've been, just a little over a year now.
Over a year. So August would have been a few months before that. So that is phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal what you can do with support. That is wonderful.
Yeah. And now everywhere I go, I have people telling me, oh, yeah, we watch your videos. And I'm like, you should comment. So even though people don't comment, they are watching. So, I am, making an impact, even though I feel like I don't necessarily make such a great impact. People are seeing what we're doing.
I love you. You have given us transformation from beginning to end. You've shown us the transformation that's happened in your mindset, the transformation that's happened in your revenue, the transformation that's happened in your life in general, right? I mean, we can see the difference, So thank you so much for sharing. The link is thank you so much. The link is in the comments. You've just given us transformation after transformation. We are so, so grateful for that. Thank you. Let's give her some love in the comments. Dr. Shavira says, thank you for sharing. It's so inspirational. Something a goal that you've had for 7 years in your business, you've been able to reach it. And not only that, every month you're almost there. You're replicating it. You've come up with a formula to do that. So the link is in the comments. Don't do life alone. Don't do this alone. Don't do business alone. Don't do entrepreneurship alone, because you don't have to. And Dr. Mukanga can tell you that she has told you that she was thinking, with the price, it's going to be prohibitive for me. But she just said, you know what? I'm either going to stay the same and get the same results, or I'm going to put something in place for me to get different results. And once she made that decision, she figured out the price, right? Dr. Mukanga, once you made the decision, like, I want something different, you figured out the price. Now you have to unmute again.
Yes, no, I don't regret the price. In fact, before I was doing some coaching that was more expensive than that, and I never really engaged as well as I'm engaging now. And so I think that I'm going to be here for a long time.
Another EBSer for life. We're gonna have to get a bigger platform to handle all these people that don't want to leave. Dr. Sharuba is here. I am so glad. Thank you, Dr. Mukanga. See all the love you got in the comments. Dr. Sharuba Prabhakar is here. I'm gonna ask her to unmute and let us know all about her business and her experience.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
I'm Dr. Prabhakar. I'm a OBGYN in California, and I started in the business school in 2021. And I was an employed OBGYN, and I'd already been in my position for about 6 years after graduation and fellowship. In minimally invasive surgery, and things were going fine, but at some point I was like, oh, how much, like, what am I really going to be doing this forever? Like, is this this all there is? And I trained in the East Coast, where private practice was very common. When I did my fellowship and residency in New York, there were a lot of private practices. And then I moved to California in 2015, and there were like almost no private practices. So I just joined, a group practice, and I just went along with it because I thought, I had no other choice. But I knew there was more, and I was very afraid to really admit to myself that, yeah, one day I'll start a private practice, because it just was not happening in the Bay Area anyway. But I knew there was more, and I just had that itch to just figure out what that was. And so I started the business school, and I really haven't looked back. I mean, it's been amazing. I started in 2021, and now we're 2 years in, and I've just, grown and learned so much. Being with all these other amazing doctors gave me the confidence to start a practice. And if you listen to my first interview with Dr. Una on the EntreMD podcast, I talk about how so many people around me told me I was crazy and like that wasn't going to work. And, I'm an OBGYN, and why would I do that? If I do that, like, my surgeries would go down, especially as a minimally invasive surgeon, all this negative stuff. There was only one family practice doctor who told me that I should do it. Anyway, but I had the support of EBS. And so I just decided to do it anyway. And not only did I do it, I decided to do it in a cash model, or out of network model, I should say. And so I don't know the first thing about running a business, honestly, but I was like, okay, I went to med school, I went to fellowship, I did residency in one of the harder specialties. Like, okay, I can figure it out. And that's what I did. And I'm 1 year into my practice. So I haven't hit 100,000 a month yet, but I hopefully will get there one day, sooner rather than later. And it's just been it's just really built up my confidence. It's really helped me figure out that, what, like we can really do whatever it is we want. Like, even if we don't see that example around us, like we can be that example. We can actually be the first person to start a private practice in this model. And what I really found that even in the physician world, medicine and the way we practice medicine is changing very rapidly. And some of our mentors and our colleagues, they're still stuck in the old way. Like, so when you say starting a private practice, they don't really even really know what that means anymore, because they're used to 20 staff, 2 staff per person, just all these ways, or antiquated ways. But now we know that when you run a practice, you can have a very lean staff. We have all these new technologies that we can use. We have cheaper EMRs. It's like a whole different ballgame, right? So when we talk to some of our colleagues, at least when I was talking to my colleagues, I felt like they were just not even in the same page. Like they were just 20 years ago, and they had there's no point in talking to them, because they had no idea about what was possible. And then you come into EBS and you see all these other doctors starting practices, and everybody's on the cutting edge. Even every day now I learn more and more, there's these other new programs that I could use. How can I incorporate AI into the exam room? Like, I'm learning stuff all the time, and it's very, very cutting edge, which is really cool. And if you really want to start a practice today, you kind of have to be cutting edge to really, make it work. And so it's just a perfect environment to do that and learn, and just build the discipline, and build the disciplines that it takes to be a business person and an entrepreneur, because these skills then translate into all the other areas of our life, which is magic. So yeah, I think I'll stop talking unless anybody has specific questions.
No, that was so good. Thank you so much for sharing. We love the journey that you took us on, from not really thinking about, doing a practice to realizing that, wait a minute, I can do this. And then you went on another journey, because now it's like, not only can I do this, I can do this my way. And you definitely do practice your way. I mean, Dr. Gregor Boltex, I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It sounds like a lovely French name, and I probably pronounced it wrong. I'm so sorry. It may not even be French, but I apologize. But she wrote something great in the comments. She said, love the word lean. And it's so true. Like, you can build your practice profitably. You don't have to have all these expenses. You don't have to do a crazy build out and hire 10 people from day one and, buy all these machines and hope that people use them. You can build your practice profitably from day one. You can build a practice that serves you, and which is what you wanted. You wanted a practice that will allow you to spend more time with your children. You have to tell us about all that.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I was just thinking, oh my gosh, yes, I forgot the main thing. So this morning, it's a Friday. I have 3 kids, ages 3, 7, and 8. My husband runs a tech startup. So we're a very busy household. But I've learned to delegate so much. Even, I have an au pair to help me with my kids. And after EBS, I've delegated even more things so I can really, run my business and be there for my kids. And this morning they had parent-teacher meeting. Typically, the way this works when I was employed was I would just send an email to the teachers and be like, sorry, can't make it. Can schedule another 10 minutes with you after at pickups to like talk about my kids. Like that's how I usually used to do it. Now, I was able to be there for all 3 meetings. I just started my patients at 10:30 today. So I, of course, I had to sign up for the earlier meetings, but did that. And I felt really good. I learned about like how my kids are doing. And then I came at 10:30 and I saw like 5 patients, which for me is a pretty full day. A full day for me is 7 to 8 patients because I spend an hour with everybody. So I just finished my last patient, and then I was able to jump on this call. And as soon as this is done, I'm going to finish my notes, and then I'm going to go to the gym, and then I will go have dinner. We have friends coming over at 6 p.m. and I'm going to have dinner with my family. So to me, sounds pretty ideal. And so
Yes.
I was able to really make all this happen. People always ask me like, how do you have time to work out? Like you have 3 kids, like how do you have time to do all this stuff? And I work out 4 to 5 times a week. I eat well. I sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. I do not consider myself burnt out at all. In fact, running a business, gives me more challenges and like ways to use my brain, and just to provide my patients like just cutting edge. Just like my clinic is cutting edge, I feel just the way I run it, is also able to provide my patients cutting edge, therapies and treatment options because I actually have time. I have time to read. I have time to answer their questions. So it's very, very fulfilling both on the, the medical side and the business side, but also on the personal side. And my kids see that, wow, mom runs her own business and she's able to be there for me when I need it. It's not the end of the world to move 3 or 4 patients in an afternoon if I have to pick up my kids from school or something comes up, versus before I would have like 15 patients that I would have to move and I would feel so guilty and I would be like, oh, I'm not going to move 15 patients. I'll just skip that event or something. But now I can really be there for them. And I can be there for myself. Like, I just celebrated my 40th birthday and, I went to Vegas with my husband planning another girls trip. Like, you realize like you have to feed your own soul and you have to have, fill your own cup, which becomes really difficult when we're in medicine and running a rat race. So I felt like this really came at a right time when it was like the antidote to burnout, and that seems a little contradictory when you first think about it. You're like, running a business as antidote to burnout. Like, how is that better than just getting a check and calling it a day, right? Yes, there is. There are challenges, but when you work in that system, at least for me, I just felt like I didn't have any autonomy. It's kind of like a robot. I had to see these 20, 25 patients. I had no time to like talk to anybody in detail. I was always nervous about missing things. And so I was able to create this nice practice. And, when there are months when I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I'm like going to make my income that I wanted to, I can just take a couple of calls at the hospital. I think we're all like sought after physicians. We're really well-trained physicians. So you can mix and match, which is great. When you in corporate medicine, you have to sign a contract and you have to do what they say. But now that I'm like my own boss, I can choose to work 3 days in my office, a day of OB call if I want. I can kind of mix and match things however I want, and nobody's telling me that I can't, which to me is like just beautiful.
Beautiful and priceless. Absolutely priceless. I mean, I love the fact that you spend an hour with every patient. How many doctors on this line would love to spend, an hour with a patient? And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to, but I just like the fact that you're doing medicine the way you want to do it. And, and even still with having a DPC model, you're profitable,
Yes.
because I think how long after you started were you able to pay yourself? I think it was a few months.
No, within the first year. So the first year, everybody told me, oh, you're going to be in the whole, like the first year. And I was ready for that, because I started a practice. But actually, my very first year, I made $100,000. And that was in profit. And so, I mean, I paid some of that, for my, I paid myself a salary from that. But still, that was, I wasn't expecting to make any money. So, and I have a lot of overhead because I'm starting out my practice my first year. I'm in the Bay Area, so I have to pay a lot for rent, and I pay a lot for Google Ads and all of these things. But still, after all that, I was still able to make a profit. So I think most medical practices don't make any money for like 3 years or something. I think that's the average statistic out there. So that was really good. Yeah.
You know, Dr. Shuba, what I hear a lot of people tell me, and maybe you can help with this, is they tell me they know they want to make these changes. They know that they want more for their lives. They know that they probably could use some help in being more strategic about their business, but they just feel like it's not the right time yet. Like they just feel like, maybe I'll wait a little longer. Maybe that it's just not the timing. What would you say to someone who's considering their school, but they don't think that now is the time to do it?
Yeah, there's never a good time for something like this. And I would say, you don't know what you don't know. And that is kind of a big price to pay if you're trying to be an entrepreneur. Because, I didn't really know what I would get in the business school. I didn't have like a plan. I didn't have like my top 3 goals. I didn't have any of that. I just knew that I wanted more. I really, Dr. Una really spoke to me. I felt like this community was great, and I just went for it. And wow, like my mind is blown as to how much I've learned, how much I've developed, so that who I am today is not who I was last year. I'm just like growing leaps and bounds. And so I wouldn't wait for the perfect time, because you don't know when that time is, and you don't know what you're missing. So I would say this is one of the most, probably the only and most innovative schools out there, with this kind of community, with this kind of coach and leader, and this kind of team. So I would just do it, because you'll make up your investment in the first year. Like there's just no doubt, and you'll just really expand your mind to the possibilities out there. And there's really no price for that, right? Like we all run very different businesses. It's not like everybody runs an out-of-network private practice or anything. Some people don't even do anything to do with medicine. They're running a business. So it's but you learn from all these people. So yeah, consider it your, I don't know, gift to yourself, self-development, and you won't regret it.
Thank you so much for that. And I just love the fact that you turn 40, which you still look 30. 30 is the new 40 is the new 30. you turn 40, and then all these amazing things are just falling into place for you. You're able to go on a trip with your husband to Vegas, having a girls trip. You're running a thriving business, able to be there for your children. But that sounds all amazing, right? But guess what? It wasn't by accident. She didn't just stumble upon this life. She got this life because she was very specific and purposeful about it, and she got the direction and the guidance to get it. And you can as well. Did you have something to say about that?
No, I was saying absolutely. Now when I look at how much have I accomplished in a year, I'm like, what was I doing in my 30s? I read like 15, 20 books a year now. Since joining EBS. And, before I used to struggle just to get through 2 books because there's no time, there's no, whatever, all these excuses, right? But it just puts you in a different trajectory. And your network is expanded. And I like how you said it, it really makes you create a very meaningful and purposeful life. And that's, I think, what we all want at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, right? And then there's always that adage that says, if you want something different, you have to do something different. If you want next year to be different than 2020, if you want 2024 to be different from 2023, there has to be something different. We have to have something that we do that is different than what we've done. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the comments. And again, I'm going to just let you know that link is just for a conversation with me. It's not binding. You're not going to get sent a bill after you fill an application. What's going to happen is you and I will have a conversation, and we're going to see if this school is good for you. If you would be a good fit for the school, if you could benefit from the school in the goals that you've set for yourself, and we will have a conversation. So that's all that is. So go ahead and fill out an application. We're looking for it. We're on standby to review it. Dr. Barker has been so amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Let's give her some more love in the comments. You already have a bunch of people that are like, oh my goodness, way to go. Congratulations. And happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your story can be like theirs. I want to see each of you have these same kind of stories by next year. We have learned 7 ways that private practice owners leave money on the table every single day, but I would love to see you recoup all of that money. And not only that, to start living the life that you've always wanted to do. And it's not a cliche thing. You've seen it. It's not cliche. It absolutely can happen. If it happened for them, it can happen for you. So I want to encourage you to fill out an application and let's get started on the rest of your life. All right, everybody, have a wonderful night. It's been wonderful spending time with you. Take care.
We have Dr. Brittany Panico. She is joining us from Phoenix, Arizona. She is amazing.
Hello.
How are you?
Thank you. How are you?
I am doing great. Excited you're here.
Thank you. I'm sorry if there's a rumble. I'm sitting in my car. My office is being remodeled, so
But we're
my
not
hideaway.
we're not mad at you and your office being remodeled. We just want to see pictures later. How about that?
Yes, I will post them.
Okay. So why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Let's hear your story. It's going to be a gift to the people who get to listen. So
Sure. Thank you. So I'm Brittany Panico. I'm a rheumatologist in Phoenix, and I was basically an academic. I was a academic clinician. So I wasn't producing research, but I was seeing patients in an academic center in Phoenix, and heard Dr. Una's visibility formula workshop. This would have been a year and a half ago. So I've been in EBS for a full year. And my friend, who's a dermatologist, was sort of pushing me or kind of urging me, when you're ready, start a practice, because we need, more people like you out here, and I'm doing it, and I think you could do it. So he sort of put the bug in my ear. But of course, I'm thinking, I don't know a thing about business. I've been employed my entire career. So I came across the visibility formula workshop and thought, oh my gosh, this is my ticket to learning all of the things that I need to learn to be able to open up my own practice. And sure enough, so at that point, you were doing, I think, quarterly applications, and it was very similar, like a week to apply. And the night of, I sent it, I think I had an hour before the deadline, I submitted my application. I told my husband, I'm doing this. You'll thank me later, but we're going to do this. And he's an electrophysiologist. So he's like, okay, what, I believe in you, whatever. So got in, and the way that we paid for it essentially is I get very paranoid about taxes. I'm not a very kind of savvy person when it comes to how I save and how we delegate for taxes. So I bank away a little bit extra every paycheck into our tax fund. And so usually we get a refund, because there was a year I had to pay a lot of money, and I told myself I would never do that again. So I overpay, and that way we get a refund every year. So we kind of decide how we're going to use that money. And we had just decided together that we were going to use our refund essentially to pay for EBS. So that was my little trick. And then, like Dr. Una had mentioned, making it a line item in your business. So because of EBS, I started my husband and we started our own consulting company to do to talk and do consulting work. So it's a line item for our consulting business now. But then rolling over into my practice. So I was in the public service loan forgiveness program, and my loans were coming up to be forgiven. So once that happened, then I decided to give my notice and leave my employed practice. and start my own practice. So that happened in December. So I'm 6 months into my own private practice in rheumatology. And I think one of the biggest ways that I am seeing the return on my investment is not only the consulting. So I'm now a speaker for one of the pharmaceutical companies that I use their product. So that's going to pay for itself. I only have to speak, a handful of times, and I essentially pay my tuition back. But it's also in my ability to pivot in my business now. So if something doesn't seem like it's going right, or I'm not necessarily getting the types of referrals that I will generate patient revenue, I know how to pivot that much quicker so that I don't waste my time doing stuff that's not actually making money for my business. So that's been really powerful, because when we're employed, we don't have that control to say, I don't specifically want to see these patients who aren't bringing in revenue to my practice. Whereas now I can identify what portion of my community not only needs my help, but what portion is actually investing back into my practice so that I can then put more money back into my community by hiring more staff, by, servicing in that way. So I think the mindset you mentioned is such a key portion of it, because we learn then what it means to provide that investment back into our community and how we can pivot our role and our service to accommodate for that. So one of the things that's happening just within the last couple of weeks is a private practice closed. So there has been a massive change and shift in the patient population. And so a lot of those patients, needed to be seen quickly or were without infusion medications. And so we sort of capitalized on that by, increasing our social media, increasing our kind of word of mouth around the community about, we're here, and opening an infusion center. And if you are somebody on infusions, we're here for you. So again, I think it's kind of just being able to take something that you're already good at, get better at it, and be more vocal about, I am the person who can do this for you in this community. And it's just been really great, because that is the return, right? The patient volume, the filling up your schedule quickly, the, being full at 6 months has been my return, because I'm not struggling to see patients, and that's such a big relief. But in the sense, putting in the work that we talk about in EBS, that Dr. Una talks about, that, the success that other people have had, and the tools that they're using to then say, okay, I can apply this to my specialty, my practice. And then also, just to give like a quick aside, because I know some of us have spouses who are in medicine, some of us have spouses who are not in medicine. I also feel like there's a return on the investment within my marriage, because we're communicating much more effectively with each other and what we want out of our future careers. And then also, he's picking up things that are working for me and applying that to his career. And he's been getting offered speaking engagements and being able to sit on, really, really big meetings with people who design things for his field, product development, and things that doors that wouldn't have necessarily been opened had he, not put himself out there, seeing what I'm doing as well. So I think even though he's not specifically, involved in EBS, he's listening and seeing what I'm doing and thinking, okay, if I apply these tools to my job, I can get these things too. And so collectively, our family income has increased because of that as well. So I think that can apply to people, getting promotions and other areas too, by seeing the things that we're able to accomplish. So the investment is just the seed, like Dr. Una was saying, that's just the tip of the iceberg that starts this big snowball of like all these other things that happen. And a lot of it isn't until months or maybe even a year later. But once it starts to come, it's like it starts happening faster and bigger each time. So that's been really rewarding.
Man, okay, so tell your husband to expect an invoice from EBS. I'm kidding. I'm
Yes,
kidding.
he's piggybacking off of, yeah.
Just say, okay,
So,
we know now. So, but
yeah.
okay, so hear this, right? And Dr. Panico is not the first person to say this. This is something you hear time and time and time again of the impact it has in marriages. Because EBS, it's a business school. Today I was thinking about it. I was like, I won't be shocked if, like, in 5 or 7 years, we rename this school because it's so much more than business. When we say dream business and dream life, this is what we're talking about, where now the marriages are better, now the communication is better, now your spouse is seeing you do certain things, and and it's not like they didn't have value for it. That's not what I'm trying to say, but they look at you different. Like my wife, my husband's a total boss. Like, do you see what's going on here? It's so crazy to see that, because you, the person, this is about you becoming an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurship is like almost the best personal development program there is out there. Like that's just what it is. Now, Dr. Panico, I mean, like, you just dropped so many nuggets. I don't even know where to start from. So, but I will ask you this, because I want people to get this perspective. You were in the business school for almost a year before it was time for you to start your practice. I have that right?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because I want you to see this now. Again, this is an example of that mindset that I am my best appreciating asset. She was not deciding to start a practice the next day, but she was like, I'm going to do the business before the business. I'm going to learn the skills. I'm going to learn what I need to do. But that's what put her in a position where you heard her say, at 6 months, I'm full, in a place where private practices are shutting down. She's like, at 6 months, I'm full. I'm not struggling to see. Then think about this. We talked about the 7-figure sales system, the 7-figure marketing system. Now you can see that in operation, where she's like, okay, so that practice closed. So we have all these patients who are displaced. So this is how we're going to create these buckets so they'll know that we're here. So we just put the buckets so they come from there to here. And it's not like, oh, what do I, it's like, I know what to do, right? So I do this with social media, I do this with word of mouth, I do this, and I put that presence out there. So people are like, okay, we know this is a place to go. And she was able to turn that around. You guys, this is about becoming an entrepreneur, right? And it's not one business, really it's 2 businesses, because you have the consulting business and you have the private practice. And now your husband is applying the thing, getting his own speaking gigs and all of that. So collectively, family is so much better, right? So when you think about making the investment at this stage, right? Because you're at the beginning stages of the return on investment, because remember, this is the gift that keeps giving. And as the years go by, what it gives becomes bigger and bigger, right? So when you think about the initial investment you made compared to, that's what I was talking about, like you can focus on the investment, you can focus on the dream. When you compare the two, what do you think?
I mean, it's so incredible to think, all I had to do was make that decision, and now it's automatic. I came up for renewal, and yes, like not even a question. I had already budgeted to renew. So I think, it's really that decision of this is what's gotten me this far in a year. So if I do it again, it's unfathomable what can even happen. And I think the biggest thing that really made a difference for me was understanding, when you're employed, your employer sets a cap for you. So I had all these restrictions on things I could do. I couldn't speak. I couldn't go out and do moonlighting. I couldn't make any extra money. I was stuck in my salary. And of course I could Uber, I could do some other thing that was not tied to medicine, but I couldn't use my skills to do anything else outside of my employed position. So now, if I decide, I'm going to start using a supplement company to build a vertical, if I decide I want to do a third party something or other to add, an investment into my business, if I want to cut expenses somewhere and use something that's cheaper so that I have more revenue to use that for somewhere else, I can make those decisions. So your ability to pivot money and move money in those buckets, like Dr. Una was saying, you can do that once you're no longer under, the umbrella of employment. But I think it's helpful too that even if you have the intention of building your personal brand while being employed, there's still other ways, right? You can open that other business and do something different that doesn't conflict with your day job. Whereas, that's kind of the mindset of, oh, I can offer all these other things too, not just feel stuck in my job.
We don't have to feel stuck. I just like to think that all of this was from one decision. This is what I've been saying since Saturday. It is a decision. Like all the other things, how will I pay you? How will I find the time? It's noise. What matters is the decision. This is the dream. This is the cost from your dream. I'm deciding to do it. That's it. Like it really is as simple as that. It's not more complicated than that. And for Dr. Panico, she's now in this place where she's experienced it. So she's not waiting she's just like, yeah, I already budgeted it. Whenever that time comes around, I'm just doing it. That's it. Because she understands it's just that decision. It's just that decision. There we go. Right. So Dr. Panico, this is so good. Thank you for sharing this. And I still get blown away every time I hear your story, because of course the story keeps evolving, right? I mean, like in a time when practices are shutting down like left, right, and center, to say like in 6 months I'm busy, that's crazy. Like, that,
Yeah.
right? Like it's crazy, but that's how we roll. In fact, I don't know who said this. I don't know who said this, but some night we were having our live session. Our live sessions are on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. And someone's like, I started my practice 4 months ago and I'm only breaking even. And I just sat, I was just like, y'all are so spoiled in EBS. I'm like, go post that in any other group on Facebook. Oh, well, that was you, Dr. Palmer. I was like, go post it on any other group in Facebook and say, my problem is that I've been open for 4 months and I'm breaking even. They will drag you, right? Because I was like, wow. I was like, you guys are just rock stars. So you're like, this is a new norm. I'll take it. I'll take the challenge. But it really is a different place, and it really comes from that commit. It's a decision that turns people into this, like where this is how we roll. This is what we do. When you join EBS, when you join the EntreMD Business School, I want you to understand that now you're surrounded with people like Dr. Reed, people like Dr. Palmer, people like Dr. Panico, the doctors you heard on side. Like this is now your new community, where you have the best kind of peer pressure is positive peer pressure. And it's not in a bad way. It's in an inspiring, empowering way. Like you're like, wait a minute. Like if she could, I can. If she could, oh, that's the way they did it. I can do that too. You have somebody you can ask questions. You can bounce ideas off. Like this becomes your new environment. And the law of the environment is that you never rise above your environment. You're never unaffected by your environment, right? So you walk into a place full of people like her, it's like being under a vent that's blowing cold air. Like you're gonna get cold. So here you're gonna get on fire. You're gonna go like, I can do this. You're one decision away. Okay, so please turn in your application, entremd.com/apply, and give yourself the gift of a new way of thinking. I don't just go like, wait a minute, I don't have the time. I don't have this. I don't have that. You've done this before. You did it for medical school. You didn't stop. You were like, I got this. We'll figure it out. That's what you said. That's what turned you from a pimply teenager into a person who can operate on hearts. That's the power of that decision. So I'm saying decide one more time. Like, are we going to evolve once and stop? Evolving once and stopping is what got us where we are. That's what created the loss of autonomy. That's what created the burnout. That's what created all of this. We need to do one more evolution, and there'll be another one after that, okay? So this is a trick evolution, but one more evolution. Like I am MD. What can I be? An MD plus entrepreneur, savvy entrepreneur? Can I be this? Can I be that? We're getting to the stage where we're going to start talking about, as EBS, about disrupting industries. Like I'm in my industry, I'm going to disrupt it. I'm not going to complain about anything anymore. We're going to fix it. Right? That's another evolution. So evolve. All right. So the old you used to say, oh, I don't think I can afford it. I don't think I can do it. What if it doesn't work for me? No, this is a new you. Embrace the new you. Okay. Okay. Dr. Panico, what would you say to the person kind of sort of on the fence, right? Like Dr. And I hear you, but there's a but, right? What would you say? And this is a person who wants the dream, right? This is not someone who's cynical and all. This is somebody who wants it, but they're like still a little unsure, right? What would you say to that person? Because we're in EBS, right, every week. So we're on fire. We're like, yeah, we can do it. Like the more impossible is the more like, yeah, we can do it, right? But this person hasn't been in EBS yet. Okay. They're around naysayers and all of that stuff. Okay. So what would you say to that person?
I would tell you to do it scared, because we all have that gut feeling of like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. That's the feeling that moves us forward. We do have it in us. The money will come. The money is just money. It will come. But the decision to move yourself forward, there's no language to express what that means to you. So do it scared, do it when you're not ready. Just do it. That's been my phrase for this year. Just do it. And I'm trying not to let that voice hold me back. And so many amazing things have happened that I would never have even thought. So you can't think of it. You can't necessarily even know what your dream is until you're doing it, and then it evolves and it happens. So even if you think this is a portion of your dream, just do it. And we're here for you and we're ready. And the more amazing people that join, the harder we will all push each other and the faster we will all grow together. So I want more really awesome people to join, because then I will do better. So I think it's a win-win for everyone.
Do you guys hear this mindset? Like, can you see the mindset on display? There's no competition there. There's collaboration. Like, you're amazing. Come on in. I want more amazing people so I can get even better. Like, listen to that. How wild is that? Dr. Panico, thank you. This is so good. And you said something profound. You said many profound things, but you said, even if you're not sure what the whole dream is, right? You just know there's a portion of it. That's where we start from. I could not have imagined that I'll be where I am now. All I knew is there's a next step I needed to take, and I took it. There's no way I could have predicted where I never thought I'd be a podcaster. I never thought I'd be doing that. I never thought I'd be talking to doctors. I never thought any of these things. I just knew there's more. I was willing to invest in there's more. That was my business idea. That was my whole idea. There's more, right? So EntreMD.com/apply. And the thing is, if you notice, the decision Dr. Panico made to get in is the decision she used to bring her practice to where she was full at 6 months. Is the same, like, I'm scared, I'll do it scared. I'm unsure, but I'm still doing it. I've made the decision, it's gonna happen. It's the same thing.
We have the amazing Dr. Sarah Merritt, who is also here to share with us. Dr. Merritt, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can, thank you. You can go ahead and let us know about you.
Hi, I'm an EBS veteran. I think I've been in the school since 2021, and my name is Sarah Merritt. I'm the CEO of Lifestream Health Center. We're in Bowie, Maryland, and we're striving to make pain management more caring, accessible, patient-centric, and evidence-based. So I had a private practice when I joined EBS, and I sensed that I would be in the same place a year from the enrollment time if I did not do something different. And maybe we've all sensed this about ourselves, that we, kind of rise to a certain level on our own, right? This is a group of like high achieving people. There was a level of success that I was able to rise to on my own. And look, I had a 7-figure plus business when I joined EBS, but I was having a hard time. I was not having a lot of fun, and it was really not sustainable. It was really not sustainable. And so I joined the business school, and I'm a little bit of a slow student, I would say. I've been in the school, and I probably I would share that, if you're thinking about joining the business school, bring your enthusiasm, bring your willingness to engage, because I think, really slow to prioritize it and where I want it in my life and in my thought process as a CEO. So I joined the business school. I've had some slow progress, but I really have made a lot of progress. And about the time I joined the business school, I had hired a doctor. That turned out not to be a great hire, but despite, challenges of having a doctor, that has left my practice, I'm actually at a point where I have some big tangible wins that I just want to share that have evolved, during my time in EBS. So my practice is a pain management practice. And if we look at our numbers right now, year to date in 2023, we're up 17% for total revenue over last year. And I'm not paying an extra doctor.
Wow.
So like
that's a lot of profit.
Right? Yeah. So and so then I got to thinking about, well, what does that mean, in terms of earnings and everything. And so if I look at, on my profit and loss statement, what's the bottom line profit, which includes my salary, what I pay. And, frankly, if you're a business owner, you have to leave some money in the business, right? I don't take every penny home. It's not realistic for the health of my business. And so unlike that W-2 person who just has their nice W-2, I have this business and this asset, right, that I'm building. And so I do leave some money in it. And so even if we stopped the year right now, I did a little Google searching. If we stopped the year right now, based on our profitability that includes what I'm paying myself, I would be in the 90th percentile for my specialty.
Wow.
And we've got a couple months left.
Wow. We need to give you a big round of applause. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad that you took the time to figure that out. That's huge.
90th percentile, I know. And that doesn't include the fact that I own my practice real estate.
Okay.
And that doesn't include
Dr. Patel, you own the building?
Part of our practice. Yeah. So,
she said she's slow. How many of you are saying she's not a slow student? She may be quiet, but she's not slow.
I had a really rough.
Look at all the comments. You've gotten all the excitement tonight.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you. So yeah, we have some revenue wins. We are doing well. The business is healthy. And that's vital to it being able to carry on, right? And I have to be healthy. My non-revenue wins, I would say, I've been out of the country 3 times in the last 18 months. That I have had travel with my family, and one was actually for a medical fundraiser, and have had some great opportunities to travel, and I've been able to engage with that, and I don't have to really ask anyone permission to leave, and I work like 3.5 to 4 clinical days a week, right? Like, so it's I do long days, but I work 3.5 to 4 days a week, not 5. What are my other wins? Yeah, and I think the other big win that I would just share is, I just see private practice as so much more sustainable by being in EBS, because it's challenging. It's like a lonely place to be. You may have your staff, and I have good people on my staff, but there's just nothing like the connection that we have among the various physician, business owners that we're all, whether we're coaching or in private practice or speaking, we are all having this entrepreneurial mindset, and that we all have a connection, obviously, as physicians as well. So yeah, I think if you are thinking about the business school and you're not sure, I would think about where you might be in a year, and how will it be on your own versus how might it be in a community like EntreMD Business School. And for me, the community has been just the best.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Dr. Merritt. That is unbelievable. I know Dr. Mitra's clapping. We're all clapping for you. What a great year you've had. And all this time you've been in the school. I just love the fact that you've been 100% engaged. You came into the school already with a 7-figure practice. I mean, you could have easily said, what is Dr. Una going to teach me? I know, I've gotten myself to this point, but you're still hungry, and you're still humble, and you're still coachable, which has made all the difference in the world. So even though you were profitable then, you're so much more profitable now.
Yes.
And not only that, there's people with 7-figure practices who aren't able to walk away from them and go away 3 times a year. Mm-hmm. So you're able to balance that. You're able to get the mindset changes and the changes, the systems within the practice to give you that time. And then 3 days a week with 7 figures.
Yeah, 3.5.
3.5. Well, we're just going to count the 3. We're not thinking about.
Yeah, I didn't work Wednesday. I was not clinical Wednesday. I mean, I did some things, right? Yeah. I did some CEO things, but I did them from my house. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, we are very excited for you, and like Dr. Merritt said, look at yourself a year from now. If you want to see a difference in your life, you have to do something different.
Good evening, docs. I entered EBS a year and a half ago. I came from corporate medicine and decided to leave in 2018. My specialty by trade is I'm a maternal fetal medicine specialist or a high-risk obstetrician. And I felt at the time that I could do better on my own. So I hung out a shingle without nearly a clue a couple months before COVID. We were able to survive that, but it became clear to me that I needed to know a little bit more than just hanging out a shingle. So I was trying to find like-minded people like myself, because when I told my mentors, a couple of my mentors, that I was going to do private practice, they all categorically told me that I was crazy. Mm. So a friend directed me to EBS and Dr. Una, and I binged and kind of did my research and took the plunge and entered in a year and a half ago. This entire week, we've learned in the school over time, and I strategically applied it. I made a big decision to change my EMR system, which after I recovered from my minor heart attack psychologically, I applied the principles that I learned in this school. And in holding claims this year, Q1, Q2 were actually, I met my revenue goals, which, I mean, amazed me, because I just knew in the lizard brain that it wasn't going to be successful. Even though I didn't feel like I was financially comfortable to expand the business, with EBS and community support and everybody, I hired a sonographer. We've increased our patient. I think we've almost doubled our monthly patient census.
Wow.
Yeah, I took a look at that. I was like, yeah, that's what last month we doubled for sure. And it's so great. So that's the tangible money win. The team that I had to put in place I love my team. They are marketing for me. I took the time on the front end, again, learning what I'm learning through school every Wednesday and every Thursday, and built in a structure, took the time to do that, and was actually able to step away from my practice as solo practitioner from time to time, after I kind of got over the mental mindset, I am becoming quite comfortable in not having to check in the office at
Oh,
all.
wonderful. Wow,
Yeah,
that's a true CEO move.
I know. It felt good. I didn't check in all week, but today I did check in, so that was good. What else? The mindset. I think that is really the foundation behind my success, because I had to get over some things that I thought I knew. I had to open myself to some discomfort and then kind of figure out as I go along, because I was a little nervous that the neurons weren't going to be as quick with this. Is totally, I mean, we never learned this in med school, right? So, but it's so good. You have your classmates who can help problem solve. Sometimes you might not be able to see a perspective, but one or two ideas and you go, oh yeah, how come I didn't see that? So I can't even begin to remember what my pre-EBS self was like. But
Wow.
I feel today that even though it's like climbing some steps, you kind of climb the next step. And when you get up to the next step, I feel shaky, but then I settle and then I'm able to actually look up a couple steps ahead, which prior when I was looking at my practice before EBS, I thought, how the hell am I going to retire from this? Because I felt like I was just cemented in it. But now I can actually step away from this business and turn it into an asset. It's nowhere near where it's going to be, but at least I can see the possibility, which is so good. That's like the first vision clarity that I've been able to get.
And that's huge, right? Because now you have a plan, not just for now, which now is pretty phenomenal, but like Dr. Una says, you have a plan for the future, for your dream life, for retirement, for even making the business work for you, which is fantastic. What would you say, Doctor? Somebody listening to you will be like, well, she's got it all together. I mean, she hit her goals in the first quarter, the second quarter. And she's making all this expansion, doubled her patient volume. What would you say to them if they're thinking about the school, but they're looking at you and seeing that there's a disparity between all that you've achieved and where they are now?
We all started somewhere. I wish I could say I entered EBS with all this in a bag of chips, but that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
The work I put in, the work and the investment, because I don't consider it cost prohibitive. I could have gone to theoretical business school, spent 4 times the money,
or got an MBA,
3 times the time. Mm-hmm. And come out with theoretical knowledge that I still wouldn't have been able to apply to my business. I considered EntreMD and EBS applied business school. Mm-hmm. And I looked at it and I looked at the successes and I did the lives and I lurked and I said, well, if they can do it, I need to just look at my obstacles and my mind drama and all of the things that I'm throwing in the way of telling myself why I couldn't do it, and just really look myself in the mirror and say, girl, you're going to have to poop or get off the pot. Because there's nobody coming to the rescue.
Oh, we're the count.
You don't have a infinite amount of time. So I think it can be done. If you put your mind to it and you follow the program, you'll figure out what can work for you.
Thank you so much for that. It goes back to what Dr. Una said, that once you're coachable, once you're committed to your results, and once you stay in communication, you'll do well. You do well. So Dr. Heather Stanley is Christian is an example of that. Is an example of somebody who has gleaned everything that she has gotten from the school, and she's telling you that she didn't have all of these things before she got into the school. Even when you talked about team building and you talked about hiring and all of that, those were gained from being in the school. So what other questions you have? I want you to go ahead. The link is still in the comments. I want you to go ahead and fill out an application because it is your time. It's your time. There's no time like now, right? And she said something very, very amazing about the school. I always tell people what sets the EntreMD Business School apart is the fact that we are practical. It's not a lot of theory. Even the live sessions that we have, Dr. Una does them in workshop form, similar like this. So you're not just learning, but you're learning to do. So that's amazing. Let's give Dr. Heather Stanley Christian some love in the comments. We are really just blown away by what all you've done. This is so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Happy to. Thank you.
Dr. Mukanga is relatively new in the school. So she is going to, I'm going to ask her to unmute. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself.
Hi.
How are you, Dr. Mukanga? Tell us about yourself and your experience with the school and any wins that you love to share, tangible and intangible.
Oh yeah, so I'm Dr. Valerie Mukanga. I am, contrary to everybody else who are physicians, I'm actually a dentist. I'm a general dentist, and I am the CEO and owner of Healing Wings Dental, which is located in Arlington, Texas, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we've been in business for 7 years. So prior to joining EBS, I would see Dr. Una's post on my Facebook story. And one day I tried to apply and I looked at the price. I was like, I can't really do it. So then one of my friends, Caroline Clarice May, who is the founder of Doctors Out of Death, she's also a dentist. She led me to Dr. Una by ways of her podcast, and I started listening. That was like one of the first podcasts I've ever listened to. And it was so invaluable that I would just binge watch and just listen, and started transforming from then. But then last year, October 25th is when I joined after a session just like this. And I was like, you know what, let me just do it. And I'm just going to pay it, just as a consulting fee, or just learning from my office. So it's a business expense now. And I tell you that I have just changed so much since I joined EBS. So before EBS, and I'm just one to be kind of like more shy. So I like to be really reserved. I was just more focused on seeing my patients, and I didn't want to do any marketing. I tell you that the first time I had to do like a video campaign for an Invisalign campaign we were doing, a video for Invisalign campaign we were doing, I was hyperventilating just to do like a 3-minute video. And so, yeah, so that was me before. But then when I joined EBS, I was just encouraged to become Googleable. And that being said, it means that you have to position yourself and just show out, so that, the more you show up, the more, your name can be Googleable. So that's one of the first